Hello, my name's Cliff Stevenson and I'm the Helpful Economist. Today we're looking at UK industrial strategy and whether UK industry is being left behind. So 3 former UK business secretaries recently raised an alarm and accused Prime Minister Rishi Sunak of a lack of industrial strategy. Now, to be fair, this isn't really a new problem. The industry association Make UK has pointed out that in the last 15 years, the UK government has had 7 different plans for growth. These have actually turned out to be PR slogans instead of a proper strategy. But these are very real issues. An example is the electric vehicles industry, which is an important strategic industry going forward. The production of batteries to power electric vehicles is critical in terms of being at the forefront of this industry. And in this, the UK is well behind. This chart shows expected battery capacity in 2025. And we can see that the UK is a long way behind the other major European industrial powers. In fact, these UK figures include Britishvolt, which went bankrupt at the start of the year. So it's not clear that UK capacity will even be as high as in this chart. In 2030, we see a similar picture where the UK is really in a sorry position. Now, the US and European Union both have major industrial initiatives, and this involves financial support in the US through the Inflation Reduction Act and in the EU through the Net Zero Industry Act. And the UK has nothing equivalent to these things. Now, Brexit is an issue here. The UK has made itself a small market, and these global industries are dominated by the big economic blocs, the US, the European Union and China. So leaving the EU has really harmed the UK economically in terms of access to EU research programmes, EU industrial policies and access to the massive single market. The UK has made it much harder for itself in terms of creating frictions to its biggest export market. But to be fair, this isn't just about Brexit. UK investment has been very low for many years. The UK lags behind other countries. Looking at private investment as a percentage of GDP from the 1960s, we can see that the UK is often the lowest of the G7 countries. And it's the same looking at government investment, where the UK has also consistently been at the lower end of G7 countries. So what's the solution? Well, I'm definitely not talking down UK industry here. My experience is that the UK has great entrepreneurs and innovators, but I just think we need to be realistic about the position that we're in. Now, the UK approach since the 1980s has generally followed a kind of minimum government, leave business to it strategy. But this clearly isn't working. We need the UK government to be much more active and take a role in industrial strategy. First, we need the government to increase public investment, and this might need an increase in tax, not tax cuts as we've been promised by the Prime Minister and Chancellor. Now, clearly we can't match the US and EU, so we need to be really strategic about this investment. But the UK government has been identifying some key growth sectors where the UK has strengths, and I think this is a good start. But we also need to have a totally different mindset. In business, there's too much emphasis on short-term profit maximisation. We need long-term strategic investments, but this won't happen by itself. Government has to have a role in creating the right environment for this to happen. I personally believe we need a big change of attitude to the role of the state in the economy. I've mentioned in previous videos the work of Mariana Mazzucato and her book, The Entrepreneurial State. She makes the point that governments have played a role in many of the high-tech innovations that have occurred around the world. That government isn't just about correcting market failure. Now, I started my career as a civil servant, working as an economist in the Department of Trade and Industry. And working in the civil service in the UK is a solid professional career, but generally I think civil servants are competent but not outstanding. I think we could do more to attract top minds into government. In the US, many professionals go and do a stint in government where it's a real honour to serve the state. The UK system is plagued by short-term political goals, and we really need a long-term strategy. And I think we need a new attitude towards risk-taking. We live in a system where politicians get criticised for making mistakes, but mistakes are often the basis for a way through or growth. Now, I think it's probably too late in terms of car batteries, but we need to be asking ourselves, what are the industries that we can be building for 10, 20 years down the line? So in conclusion, I think the government needs to get much more passionate about industrial policy. Now, this will involve more money, and I think we need to increase taxes for this. But not just income taxes. I think we need to look at other forms of tax, look at reforming capital gains tax, look at other possibilities such as land tax, wealth tax. I'm going to do a future video on this. But more important is ambition. We need to build up expertise. We need to make the civil service an exciting and inspiring place to work. Even with the economic disadvantages of Brexit, the UK can still prosper as an industrial force. But we need the government to be much more strategic in creating the conditions for this to happen. I hope you found this information useful. My name's Cliff Stevenson. I'm the Helpful Economist. See you next time.